We are back. We've all had a lovely little break. We all got dinner. We all are primed, ready to go. The energy is alive. Yeah, Tally's ready to go. Everyone's got glasses but me. You know what? Mine aren't here. That's fine. So I'll just be the guy without glasses. But guys, we got a big series coming up. We got a big, exciting one. Bliss versus arguably some of the other team. And again, Antic looking so good. These two teams wanting to make their mark. Really trying to set the tone. Are you guys as excited for this as I am?
It's hard to not be. I mean, really, this is the situation of understanding, okay, how good are these teams and who actually has the form right now to challenge up against Ground Zero, because they've said it themselves, they want to be challenged. So we want to make sure that the rest of these teams, and I think in particular Bliss have a point to prove, right? They missed out on PCS playoffs last split. They were a team built to do just that and carry on the legacy of the Chiefs and not lived up to expectations so far. So yeah, I'm expecting to see them come out guns blazing.
Love it. Let's have a look at that roster then. As Skimmy's just said, Bliss looking so good. I want to see what this team's really packing, because we have got roster changes only on one side, but it is still so good. This team, Tally, is just still on fire. Like, I think even up against Ground Zero, this is the team to be looking at.
Yeah, and this is the team with all the expectations coming into this split. This is the one we considered our, favorite. A lot of us put this team as our first seed to finish the regular season. Fortunately, didn't hit that, but I still think this roster is extremely good and a team that can contend against Ground Zero. And there is a lot that they still need to prove, though. Like, we are seeing this form coming into latter weeks, looking so much more consistent, looking a lot more versatile. And I think that's something that we really see from Bliss and not Ground Zero, is multiple ways playing the game. Whereas, when we look at Antic, this roster, to me, we were very concerned about our top three, but I think with that recent roster change, Skimmy, like, they look reinvigorated and like a new roster.
I would say so, yeah. I mean, the questions initially were like, why is Raze moving out of bot lane? Arguably the best of all time, but I suppose this would be the best time, right? To have an AD carry in the mid lane in particular. Played back-to-back games of the Corki, looked really, really strong on it. Actually gave Fido a big run for his money too. So certainly the litmus test of last week, roster swap up against Ground Zero. Certainly some promising signs there, but I would say up against Harry, that's a whole nother beast. Arguably the best mid laner in the league. And he has so much drafting diversity. He can play the carries, be it the AD carries, melee, mage, whatever it may be. So this will be their toughest test so far.
And on the note of Harry as well, it's like you sort of mentioned he can play anything. Is this where we're going to start seeing Bliss pulling out some different, more unique picks in the mid lane? Like, we know these AD carries are so strong and Raze is going to have an absolute blast. Maybe there is a solution or an answer that Bliss has been working on and saying, hey, we have something that's going to work in the greater scheme of the game. Can we make it work here up against another fantastic roster? But the Destiny change as well. You mentioned it as well, Tally. I think this is so underappreciated, because this player coming in their first game, they still played so well, so aggressive, and it's exactly what you want to see. But you can see we've got some pros, cons for both teams. I'm going to walk you through the Bliss, because pros, player for player, top 1-2 in their respective roles. Violet, Alador, late game clutch factor is just so big, and it's a stacked roster. The cons we have for these guys is relying on Harry to create leads in the early game, and ability to close out games is lackluster. I think we mentioned the lackluster of closing out games is we've seen them get big leads and then they just haven't really run away with it or done what we hoped them to do, Tally.
And yeah, and I think we look at the first line on the pros for Antic. We see the Ivan team. I think that was supposed to be a standalone. I think Antic, the fact that they play Ivan, I think this champ is so good into mages right now, and there's a potential answer paired alongside Razor's pull in the mid lane. I think that is an answer that this team could have, but I do think they live and die by their early game. If they do not get ahead, we saw their mid game can look quite messy, and they potentially could be a big issue going into Bliss. The team was really good at playing silence, really good at playing multiple play styles, and if they do get that lead in the early game on the Bliss side, I'm not sure Antic is the kind of team to be able to get back into a game from behind.
But as well, Raze on AD carry looks so much more comfortable than other mid laners too. Again, we've talked about how Harry could be the change in that, but the cons we've seen for Antic, extremely messy team play, live and die by their bot lane's performance, and multiple drafts that leave no room for error. In a team that has been quite known for dealing and running away with errors, is this maybe Bliss's chance to really put the mark on Antic here, Skimmy?
Well, I would say so. Yeah, coming into this one, I would imagine that a lot of people are going to believe that Bliss are the favourites. You've heard it from Tien as well, right? Expecting a clean 2-0 from them too. So I think both of them have gone through some tough times. A lot of it experimenting what works for them. I think more so for Antic, where it was a case of Incursio wanted to play the AP mages. Everybody else was saying, you know what, AD carries go in the mid lane. And that's why there is that similarity between both junglers, where they have a lot of ADs available, whereas the last series it was all about who can lock in the Brand, the Zyra, the Karthus. This one feels a lot more like, there's the Vi, there's the Viego, there's your Xin Zhao, and so on. So I think there's a lot more diversity in styles as opposed to your cookie cutter, double AD carry, 1 AP, and there's your tanks.
The big thing about that I want to point out is the support players, right? It's Alador and Dracu, like two of arguably the best supports in the league as well. Could this open us up to not seeing a Leona or Nautilus again? We've seen Rakan come out a little bit. We've seen Rel. Is this the possibility of spicing up the champion pool, Tally? You're just shaking your head.
It's either ban or pick, in my opinion. I feel like Leona is just way too strong in the current meta. There are like potential counters, you can go for a Braum or something, but I think that as a Leona player, you're still completely happy to play into that matchup. I think that, teams, if they want to pick away different champions, they don't want to give Leona to the enemy team. That's why we saw Ground Zero, for example, banning that last game. They wanted to prioritize a certain champion that wasn't Leona, but they don't want to verse it because they just believe it's too strong. So I think this champ will continue to be, prioritized with all the buffs it's received in recent patches, and just the fact that it's just so good with AD carries.
Well, Tally, it's not that I don't trust your word, but I need to get a pro player's opinion. You're just a pro caster, and I value you for that. But let's have a chat with Alador from Team Bliss, who is not going to play Leona today. Prove me right, Alador. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Yeah, really good, mate. Really good. I know we're all feeling good. Now, how are you feeling going into tonight's matchup? Please tell me we're not playing Leona. Is it going to be banned? Please.
No secrets can be spilled here, I'm sorry. I'm feeling pretty good going into tonight's game. As always confident going in. So you have to be, right? As a competitor, you have to be confident going into every single match, otherwise why are you here?
That's it, man. I love the confidence. It's exuding out of you. I can feel the aura. You're like a glowing angel to me right now, and I'm vibing for it. But how has the team been feeling? Like, you guys are going really good. You're up the top of the ladder with Ground Zero. Heading towards the later stages of playoffs if we can get you there, which I'm pretty confident you will. How's the team feeling? You feeling good, ready to head to PCS?
Yeah, we're all feeling really good lately. Scrim's better than ever. I would say, like... I don't really know how to describe it, just an upward trajectory, the entire split pretty much. So we're feeling really good going into this game, the next game, PCS, all of it.
Oh, that's what you want to hear, Skimmy. That's what you want to hear.
That is what you want to hear, and that's why he is known as Big Dog Alador, because he can play literally anything and he gets the dubs. And that's, I suppose, really what I want to go from this talking point, is that throughout the split it was a case of try out new things. Do you think you hit the nail on the head and enough was experimented with that on a brand new patch, even though things haven't changed, too drastically, you got enough up your sleeve that you can come into this game tonight, take down Antic, and preserve that upper bracket second chance?
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of prep. I definitely think we're good at multiple different styles, so that's what I think our advantage is. I think the other teams, Antic and Ground Zero, they're a bit one-dimensional, in my opinion, so that's where I think we have the edge in draft and things like that. So yeah, no, I'm feeling really confident going into this series, really. Especially.
Did you get a chance also to watch the first series, Ground Zero up against Stein? Did you catch any of that game?
I did, yeah. I watched both games.
Yeah, perfect.
Pretty good games.
Did you take anything from that one? Was it anything to gain from that? You thinking, oh, okay, this is what we can practice? Because I'm assuming a lot of these teams right now, until it becomes a do or die situation, be it we're qualifying for PCS or we win LCO as a whole, it feels like a lot of people are still keeping everything close, waiting for those niche picks until a game 4, game 5.
No, pretty stock standard, I would say, from both teams. I think we've scrimmed both this split, so didn't see anything special or anything out of the ordinary. But I think Arm played pretty well against Ground Zero, to be honest. The games looked pretty bloody and they were pretty fun to watch, so yeah.
Yeah, spot on. Awesome, mate.
Tally.
Yeah, sure, I'll jump in. Okay, I guess I want to dive in a bit on the playoff pain points that we all know about. The when you're unable to get a variety of scrims because you don't want to verse your direct opponents that could come up in your next series. So have you guys been getting a variety of scrims against other teams, or it has mainly been against one team in particular?
I'd say it was mainly against one team in particular, but more recently, I think over the last couple of days, yeah, it's been a bit of variety. So different teams, stuff like that, because you can't scrim the same team over and over again. Otherwise, it's just it'll be bad practice, right? So good variety is good. So now we're doing that too.
And I mean, I gotta ask about the elephant in the room. Like, are you excited to verse Destiny in the bot lane? Because I know you guys have been, friends for a very long time. Is there like an extra bit of like, oh, I need to beat this guy. Like, I can't let him beat me as an off roll. Like, I'll never live that one down.
No, not really. It's all love to Mitch. Like, I think it'll be really fun to verse him today. He hasn't played in a while, right? So I'm looking forward to versing him in the bot lane. I think it'll be really fun.
Beauty.
Well, now, we have seen a couple spicy picks coming out of some other teams, especially like Ground Zero picking up some Volibear, Lee Sin top. Like, has anyone in your team especially been looking at some different comps? Like you said, you guys are so versatile and so able to do unique picks. Have you guys been experimenting with some interesting stuff?
Interesting stuff. I'm not sure if I would. It depends on your definition of interesting, I guess. But yeah, I think a few things could be interesting. I would say, yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm just trying to think of what could actually be interesting.
Leona could be really interesting, Pike. I know you like that champion.
What's wrong with Leona? Why do you hate it so much?
Because I play Leona. It's boring. It's so straightforward. I can't. It's the only champion I know how to play in support. Alador won't coach me. All the pros have given up on me because I'm gold. It's horrible night for me right now. It's terrible. But no, that's good to hear though. Like, again, I was thinking like a Yasuo Diana or something in the jungle. Like, we've seen mages in the jungle. Is that something that could be worth playing, Alador? Like, real quick?
Oh, it might be. We'll have to wait and see, won't we?
We will. See, I've been trying to bait him. I'm trying to get these questions out. Well, Alador, thank you so much for coming on, mate. I'm so looking forward to your games. You go have a good game. Beat up Destiny for me.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Give me a 1-2.
I was just waiting for you to be like, oh, so you're going to win tonight? He's like, oh, we might do. Oh, I'm not going to give anything away there, Pike. You're like, but are you going to win? It's like, oh, well, you never know. Give me an answer, please.
There's only so many times I can ask him a question that I know he's going to be like, I can't really say too much. And I'm like, just, can you tell me something? Like, but no, that's okay. That's me baiting the wrong question. But again, if I keep asking, I'm wearing him down. Like how I've gotten all my partners
fatigue
in the past,
before the series even starts.
That's it. He's like, oh, get me off, Pike. I don't want to be here. And I'm like, what was that? Sorry, man. He's like, no, sorry, man. Shouldn't have said that out loud. That was a thought. But no, look, Bliss, still at the very top that we've been talking about. They're looking so good. Obviously, the scrims are going well, so the team's got a bit more confidence. And he said the upward trajectory. I think we've also seen that too, Tally, as the split's gone by.
Yeah, definitely. This is the main talking point we have for Bliss, is the fact that throughout the split they have shown improvement, whereas Ground Zero haven't really been contested, so we don't know like have they really hit their peak? Are they still improving? I think they do continue to improve on their playstyle they are doing right now, but with Bliss, I think that every single week the weaknesses they've shown in prior weeks are being improved upon, are being patched, and we're just seeing more variance in draft, and I think that's the one big difference for those teams.
I love what you're saying. I agree with it. But Skimmy, the big question, is Bliss at a point where they're able to rival GZ?
I think this series will be a little bit telling, because I think in the last few weeks we've seen the different variations of Harry in particular, right? Like the 1v9 LeBlanc, the Yone just pops off, the Corki that's stable. You've had the chance for Kev also to shine, right? He's played the Diana, he's played the Sejuani, even Biopemp has got amongst the Chaos, right? With like a Malphite top, even a Mordekaiser too. So I know they've definitely got some niche picks in their arsenal, and I'm just wondering like how much they feel that they need to show in tonight's series, because once again it's like during the regular season you're going to verse them again in the playoffs, don't need to do too much, but do they feel threatened enough that they need to get a perfect 2-0? Do they care about it going to a game 3? Do they just say, well, we've got the lower bracket, we can run it back there? So I think this will be a very form-telling check for both teams.
It's almost like it's a bit of fate is behind them, Skimmy. A little bit of fate, maybe a little bit of destiny. Oh, funnily enough, because funny on top of that too, we have Destiny joining us on the desk after his beautiful hiatus. Look at this golden ray of sunshine. Oh, it's blessing my eyes. Look at you, mate. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much. I had to copy Lemus because I need to become the best AD in Oath for us to win.
True.
Now, I'm going to fangirl a little bit, Destiny. I remember watching you all those years ago, and I remember actually saying that you're actually one of the reasons I played AD carry for so long. Because I know you were actually support back then, but I was just like, if I had a support that good, I'd be Gucci. And then again, we'll keep coming back to me being in gold and struggling to find any support. So, but mate, it's honestly for me a huge moment to have you here, and I'm so grateful that I get a chance to have a chat. But how are you feeling after your little retirement? You're still technically retired, but you're back helping out some buds. How's that for you?
Yeah, it's been pretty fun, like streaming again and just thinking about the game. Because after having like such a long break, like I literally work and go to uni now, and I don't play solo queue. Like I've only been playing solo queue for like a week and a half. But it's nice to play League again. It's awesome. I wish I could have kept doing it, but in a way, I'm glad I've moved on, and I think we have a good shot to make PCS. I think a lot of people are sleeping on us, and I hope we can prove them wrong.
All right, okay. I'm going to pass it straight over to Skimmy. I've had my fangirl moment. I'm just going to revel in that for a minute.
Absolutely. Oh, Mitch, it was always great to see you. Great to have another chat with you. I suppose I want to talk about this bot lane dynamic. Obviously, it feels really weird from like the outskirts, people that maybe not too familiar with the league, thinking, why is Raze being moved around? Obviously, a fantastic meta in which you can play the AD carries in the mid lane, but how does it work as a bot lane dynamic between yourself and Draku? Two support minds working together? Does it have that sort of that level of insight? It's like, I know what you're looking to try and do, and I'm able to try and assist you a little bit better than maybe any other bot lane, perhaps?
Yeah, for sure. I think me being a support main, I kind of know how the matchups should go in terms of like the level 1, who gets priority, how the trades should go. We've kind of been back and forth about how we want to play out the lanes, and we've only been playing together for a week, but I think we've improved a bit. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how Draku plays tonight.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, also in that same vein, how have you found your voice in the team? Obviously, you're very much friends with the majority of the boys on this squad, but is it very much like a one-man show, or has your voice been heard of where we've heard in the past? Like everyone's all on a sort of like the same wavelength, so if somebody makes a call and they're very passionate about it, it's like, right, we'll listen to what Mitch has to say.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail in the coffin in where like everyone's kind of communicating and we're kind of just following each other, and whoever's the most passionate will follow. But I think my strengths in the team is probably in the reviews, because I think I can offer a lot of insight in how I want to play the game and how I think is the best way to win through macro. Obviously, we've only had a week, so we're just going to improve and like, look, win or lose, we will keep improving, and I'm confident that we can get the trajectory going, you know?
That's the way, mate. Well, I'm excited to see you boys in action once again. I'll pass you over to Tally.
Now, little blast from the past, Mitch. So 5 years ago was the last time you participated in a playoffs in Oceania, in which you did not drop in a single game the entire playoffs. Undefeated run, went to World. So are we expecting similar energy from yourself this time around?
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. That Mammoth roster was deadly. I'm not gonna lie. We to be fair though, we were like the second seed coming in, so maybe a miracle run is possible. I feel like this roster reminds me of Sin out of any roster. I feel like we've individually, but it's like team play. So I don't know. We could be the Sin run 2024.
No, that's exciting. And I know I want to dive in a little bit because you did mention like you haven't been playing solo queue, but you know you have been playing a lot of arena. Okay, is that an underrated game mode when it comes to like the fact that you have role swapped?
Actually, true. I'm not gonna lie. I think my mechanics have gotten better since playing arena. Yeah, like no joke. I actually think I have gotten better. I'm like 6.4k, I think. I mean, I'm not anything special, but I mean, I'm pretty good, guys. I'm not washed. At least that's what I tell me.
It's pretty good, I think.
God damn. Yeah, so okay, so that's the secret to climbing now, guys. So we've learned from Destiny. Go play arena. Don't even worry about solo queue, and you'll climb out. So I'm expecting Emerald off of that advice, Destiny. Just a little fun fact. If I don't get it, I'm gonna send you a DM. We'll see how that transpires in a couple of months. But mate, thank you so much for coming on. It is so good to have you back. It's an absolute pleasure, and you have a great night, mate.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one. Let's have some bangos games.
Woo! That is the one.
Woo!
Oh man, I've been wanting to chat with Destiny for years. And when I got the chance, I was like, yep, I'm taking it. Running with that one. Easy dubs for me. I'm going to sleep well tonight, guys. But again, Antic, feeling good. I think the roster change, like you guys have said, is that reinvigoration, right? It's given them a chance to really change up how this roster plays and what they can do forward. And they've got a lot of confidence backing us, Skimmy.
They do, yeah, and I think that's definitely the most important part, right, is for the outside voices to say their pieces and, oh, they've gotten weak, have they given up, and so on. But I think if you yourself have that belief, if it's shared through practice and then the results come, then you can definitely turn heads very quickly. So I think you come into this one, still I'd say the majority of people are going to be looking at this and saying, yeah, Bliss should be the confident favourites, very comfortable in that fashion, but I would expect to see Antic, if they get a foothold, look to go all the way.
Well, talking about foothold, let's have a quick look at where the first team will be playing on their side selection. It is Bliss picking blue side. Again, no real stranger there. Tally, it's pretty straightforward. They like to have those priority picks. We'll have to see what they're going to get up for that, but I'm pretty excited for that, though.
Yeah, I'm not going to say, like, I'm curious what they're going to first pick. I feel like it's between, like, Leona, Ezreal, Rumble, you know, Tristana, Corki, one of whatever they want. It's just, you know, going to blue side allows you the freedom of choice. So you get to, you know, base your draft, base your bans around, you know, what is being left up by the enemy, because you do get to see the last ban come out of the red side. So you do get to choose what you're going to first pick, and that's most likely what you're going to base your draft around.
It's all about choices, right? Choices, choices, choices. There's another thing we need to choose right now, and it's where you're going to put your Twitch channel points up in that corner, because you get to choose which team to support, which is just hunky-dory in my opinion. It's just rainbows and butterflies, because right now you can just get those points, stack, 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 and you're living the dream. Let's look at where we're sitting, though, because that's just as important of who we think's going to take home the wins today in this best of 3. And we do actually... Oh! Okay. Ooh! We're very different, aren't we? Wow.
Okay.
So we've got so I've gone 2-1, Tally's gone 2-1, Skimmy's gone 2-0 for the full predictions, but we've got some interesting choices for who's actually winning, and it all seems very Bliss favored. Skimmy?
Yeah, look, as I said in the other one as well, I was sort of like, you know, you're all in or not. Yeah, I found the mid lane. I gave Raze a bit of a nod, even though he's not a native mid laner. I think just the meta itself lends himself a really good position to be in. And I will say that Draku up against Alador, they've once been teammates right on a Chiefs roster, replacing one another. So I think that one really does go down the middle, like you and I are sort of both aligned on. But it's hard to put it past like Violet in particular, right? Destiny comes into this one, hasn't played too often recently. So I think Violet should be the biggest gap between them all. I know you boys are a little bit more in favor of Foreigner. I think Kevy just has that extra little bit of pedigree behind him that should carry across the win.
Yeah, Tally, what's your reasoning behind yours? Just a little bit lower than mine.
I just think it's a lot more of an even spread throughout the entire board. I feel like the main weakness should be Destiny up against Violet, just because he is unfamiliar with the role, whereas Violet has been playing this role for an extremely long time. And I always got to give the edge to Alador when it comes to these playoff scenarios, just because the fact that he's able to play a lot more champions and he is happy to play the sit back playstyle, whereas Draco always wants to engage, could be the reason we see a little bit of advantage in the support position. But I think the main one for me is the jungle. I think Foreigner is a very underrated player and probably the best performing Antic member throughout the entire split. Forced to play a certain style, with Incursio, which was working towards his strengths in the AD junglers. But I think the fact that now he can play some of those mages in the jungle, did have a good Zyra performance last time we saw them play. I think he is a jungler who is being slept on right now.
And the reason I've got my big one that was sort of very different to yours was Harry in the mid lane, right? Like, I went all in on Harry because he's basically this player, in my opinion, that you give this man a fish, he's going to teach that fish how to go fishing to catch more fish for him. He's just that good. He doesn't even have to worry about it. He's just like, mate, go on, get it. And he's going to get, this fish that he's taught to fish, going to get even bigger fish. Like, I think he is that good. I think he is so far ahead. Like, Raze, don't get me wrong, fantastic player, but he is not traditionally a mid laner. He's an AD carry. Yes, meta's favorable, but I think Harry can bring so many different things to the board. Skimmy, I know you got thoughts, but you know what? I'm not going to let you say it. I'm going to just walk off with my gold mentality, and I'm going to leave it there and say Harry's the best.
No.
Get into that game, gents. First one for Bliss versus Antic. Have fun.
I was just trying to imagine, what does the fish say when it goes back? Like, hey, boys, can you come up to the ocean? This human wants to take us. Like, how does that conversation even happen, Tally? I don't have a clue. But what I do know is that it's Bliss up against Antic, our second best of 3 tonight. And the Ivan team, the Ivan's gone.
Oh, god damn it. Okay, Skibby, so it makes sense. Ivan being denied. This is a champion that you just do not get practice against, and you do not want to verse it because it's just so scary in these slow games. Draven and the Zeri being banned by Bliss because they are flex champs for Antic. Or I would ban the Draven away from Raze particular. Do not want to deal with that champ in a solo lane if someone is so comfortable. Zeri is that flex pick, 3-way flex pick for the Antic members, so that is being removed. A lot of the, standard red side bans from Antic, removing a lot of the volatility, LeBlanc being removed away because, you do not want to allow a mid laner who is so comfortable on this champion to have it, especially against someone who is, not familiar. So you really want to force that AD carry versus AD carry matchup, or potentially the Yasuo Urine pairing up with the Sejuani Skimmy.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, we've certainly seen that Harry is very, very good on that champion and has had a fair time into the Tristana, right? Falls behind a little bit at the start. Doran Shield fleet comes into its own, and by level 6, the All-In is there, and it's a bit of an issue. Is going to go for that direction again, and I like the fact that we are getting more Sejuani, and we are getting a little bit more Jax, and I'm sure if you've been a avid LCO watcher, you would have seen what Bio did on this Jax last time with that disgusting 4-man stun.
Skimmy, your bot lane is coming. This is the scenario. It is all lined up for the 4-5 drop pick of Zyra Khan. Really enables the top side Bliss have locked in. You know, they say, okay, you guys like playing 80 carries, you like playing squishy mages, we're going to draft Jax, we're going to draft Engage, we're going to draft Sedge, we're going to fight you everywhere you go. And this is the game plan for Bliss.
That is what we love to see, and it begs into question then if that's going to be read by Antic, if they even care about that being a potential possibility. Antic going to ban away the Brom to open things up, as the response is instantly denied, given that Zoranus in his last game up against Grand Zero said, you know what, this champion's not bad anymore, and got a rare chance to navigate away from the Cassante.
I'm also curious, Skimmy, because this is not Violet territory, right? But the fact that they are full AD or mixed damage in the Yone and Sejuani, they do not have a true mage. There is the angle for Violet to play a mage in the bot lane. Not something we've ever really seen from this player, but, you know, maybe a Ziggs would come out, an angle for him, especially a champ who's really good in the meta into these, you know, Zyra's, Karthus brands. These are mobile mages who aren't able to deal with these long-range champions, so that is a potential angle for Bliss, but I'm going to say it is a very low one. With that being said, if there is a tank to be picked, it is this game from the Antic side.
It will certainly see the way. Yeah, out comes the Gragas, so no wasting of their time there. And it is an interesting point around the AP options, in particular for Violet, because it doesn't ring a bell. But he has played a Seraphine game, has played one game as Ziggs. That was a hot minute ago, all the way back in 2021. Whether or not he feels like it is necessary, we'll have to wait and see. But if the Brom's gone, the Alistar comes out to play. There is a Leona, so Pyke is still quite upset somewhere. The Nautilus was up and available, hasn't been banned. They just decide against it, and then to close out the draft, Destiny is going to get his hands on the Kaiser.
And this is the power of the best of series, Skimmies. Really fast draft. Both teams know exactly what they wanted. Bliss have drafted a very, you know, you would say they're full, you know, a full AD comp, but a lot of the champs, Jax, Yone, Sedge, Ezreal, all mixed damage. So it doesn't really matter if there's going to be armor stacking coming out of the Antic members. There's still going to be a lot of magic damage coming out of that team. Very aggressive, a lot of priority, a lot of skirmishing power. So this is what their game plan was for game one. But Antic have answered each pick with a counter pick in itself. You know, they don't really have a team comp, you would say, but they have answered with counter picks in every single lane. So if they do play these lanes well, and we talked about how Antic is a team who lives and dies by their early game, if they do get through the early game with these, you know, priority lanes, with their winning lanes, they're going to be a very, very happy mid game.
That's exactly true, because if the mid game is favorable, then it's a case of, okay, how do we want this comp to function now that we've got this gold lead? What can we really get done with it? And as for Bliss, it is that clear-cut style of, we're going to be aggressive, what are you going to do about it? If we win harder. If we fall behind, it feels bad, but we still have the tools to, you know, face check brushes, you know, regain space in the map with deep vision, and at least go for those contests on the objectives. And I'd say overall, you've got a lot of very comfortable individuals on some of their signature champions.
Yeah, and I really like the Kai'Sa as that 5P coming into the Bliss comp. I think it's a much better answer into the Ezreal, being able to, you know, match that weight push in the early game. Someone who's a champion who's just really good in the early game, also able to self-peel against a lot of the dive coming out of the Bliss side. So just a really good carry champion and someone who can go for multiple, you know, damage types based on what the comp really needs. So I really like this pick, really like the ability to build defensive items like the Zhonya's later on in the game, if that is an option. And I just like the drafts coming out of both teams because it just shows what they really prioritize.
Well, also a very quick draft. These players, well, the majority of them have played at such a high level for such a long time. They know what they want, they know what they need, and they are really hoping that they can book themselves a date with Ground Zero in that qualification match for the PCS. It's our second best of 3 in this upper bracket of the night. Seed number 2 and Seed 3 doing battle as they have done in the past, and a chance to see, you know, where is our form going into these playoffs?
Yeah, and I think form is everything right now. They sound, I was going to say Destiny sounded extremely confident in these interviews, so I'm going to base that off of how their stream performances have been going in this recent week, and I think they feel very confident going up against the top teams right now. They must have been having, you know, extremely good performances with this roster, with the drafts they have been going for. And I'm going to say, Skimmy, the big point for this game right now is the mid lane pressure, okay? We see a Sejuani and an Alistar. if Harry is able to play, forward, able to Q3 forward consistently onto the Tristana, going to be a very nice matchup for him. But if he's unable to do that, if it's always going to be that range poke into the melee champion, it's going to be very hard for him. So going to be a lot of champions going towards the mid lane for both teams. And this is going to favor Bliss in the skirmishes, but going to favor Antic if they're able to deny that. Yeah,
we spoke about how much of a important factor it was, these support roam timings as to how they can impact the other lanes, and certainly going to be true for Alador and Draku, who are probably the premier supports are getting that achieved, right? Any given moment, it's like, okay, leave these AD carries to their own devices, let them do as they please. We have got our hands tied elsewhere, and I think it's very hard to look past the strength of a Yone Sejuani in terms of their amount of CC. But in the same vein, just the raw damage of a Zyra Tristana could also catch them off guard.
Yeah, and I'm also really excited to watch Raze play this Tristana scheming because, we've only seen him on the Corki so far, but this is the champion we know him for in the bot lane, right? We've seen him play it overseas and have such a good, so much success on this champion, but Antic being forced out of the bot lane already, going to be level 2 going towards the Ezreal side of the matchup. Going to be careful if this combo does land.
There it is, level 2 straight away, instant flash onto Destiny's hit the pulverize, go for the ignite. They needed one more auto attack. It's not going to be lethal, but they certainly set the tone with that level 2 rush.
Ooh, Raze was leaning towards bot side, but Destiny's going to be forced to recall here. The wave is going to take quite a long time to crash, so he's not going to miss out on a lot of means, maybe 1 or 2 melee creeps, run that one back to bot lane. Double summon advantage towards Violet though, so that's that main takeaway. Alador does have that Hex Splash, so if there is a repeat gank onto the bot side there of Destiny, he might fall down this time.
Yeah, very dicey way to start off this one, right? All that CS going to get denied. It's going to have to be picked up here by Draku to lose double summoners in the opening few minutes. Doesn't feel good to steady those nerves. We certainly know that these players, even at the highest level, can have those jitters about them to kickstart a series. And I think, whilst people might look at that as a bit of a negative emotion, I always think it's a case of that you care. Hence why you are nervous. You want that performance to be there, to back up the pundits, to show faith to your fans, and to get that slight edge boost up against some of these favourites that you've probably battled against all throughout OPL and LCO history. Both junglers then going to go and battle against one another. The passive connects. Kevin then locks and plays Foreigner. And with both flashes being burnt and with the rotation being just a fraction quicker by Bliss, it is that man in the mid lane, Harry, online with first blood, and maybe not a second kill on top.
Very, very close on the top side, but Gragas is this champ who can use that passive to sustain up a lot. And this is what I was talking about. There's going to be a lot of numbers going towards that mid lane, and, with this trade happening top scheming, potential dive on the Zorinus.
Well, looks inevitable. What can Zorinus do to try and outplay this one? He's got little to no mana. He burns the flash so early on, and Kevy guards aggro. That's crucial to their success. 2 dives, 2 fantastic kills.
And I think Kevy is also another jungler who, hasn't really played these mages so far, we've seen throughout the split, but has been playing, the Xin Zhao's, the Vi's, the the melee junglers to really enable the skirmishing power that his team brings forward. So really nice to see that, he's not conforming to the meta, but he's playing what he considers strong, works well for his team, and has been having a lot of success for this roster.
There's always an interesting discussion, right, as to do you conform to the cookie cutter meta build, or do you go full DCG and just literally drafting anything under the sun? And whilst we might not be quite at their level just yet, it is nice to see that an identity can be a case of, what works for us will get the job done, and not needing to go into the AP junglers if not called upon. The Sejuani is the most played over at the PCS. It's nice to see that more and more are starting to pick it up here domestically too. So a great start, but it's not to disrupt the fact that Foreigner on the Zyra will have an exceptionally quick clear, and you can already see the evidence in the CS differences.
I do see the trade going onto bot lane, but I think when these first spaces do come through, this is going to start favoring the Bliss side a lot more, scheming, because we're going to see Harry with getting that first blood, being able to push out this wave thanks to the double buff sustain that he does have, is going to find those Zerker Greaves, and that's that main power spike, or that main pain point that these Yone players want to be able to get to, right? The early game is not the best point for Yone, but being able to get to those tier 2 boosts means you're able to navigate the lane thanks to the move speed you have, and the extra attack speed, which allows your Q to be reduced even more. Really allows this champ to be able to get through the laning phase, and Harry extending lane phase as much as possible, because at this point he's just getting free farm pretty much, right? So all Raze can really do is match that CS, and then when that first base comes through, not going to be able to pressure this lane anymore because of this first skirmish that happened.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you get the Berserker Greaves, you're already feeling pretty confident. You get Blade of the Rune King on top of that, and it's like, hang on a minute, this champion is suddenly Thanos. Too strong to take down anymore. And there is an occasion for the 2v2 of Antic to explode into life. And whilst it packs a bit of a punch, this is the nuisance, right? Fleet with the Doran Shield, a couple of minion waves go by, and all that damage is being shrugged off again.
Yeah, Raze really doesn't want to base. He wants to keep extending this lane phase as much as possible, but grubs are being pulled Alador is already up here. Harry hasn't based yet though, so I think Alador might be a bit overextended here, Skinny.
Yeah, Kevy's been drawn off those grubs, and out goes the fight. Then Harry goes in for the fate, sealed on towards Race, who flashes into the pit but dies during the animation. It's going to be picked up here by Aladoric, which isn't the best, but overall they're going to be happy because look what it nets them. They get the grubs, they've got the pressure and the push, and they've got themselves a phenomenal early game start.
Yeah, really unfortunate that Raze does get tagged up by that Q3 from the Yone Pellet with the Fate Sealed, and that is going to be his Fate Sealed, Skimmy. Really easy pickup for them in that skirmish there. This is the power of these champs in early game. You do not want to be skirmishing the, the Alistair, Jack, Sejuani, Yone. They're just so strong when it comes to just base stats and their base power in the early game. Really, really need to focus on scaling for the Antic side. They need to get to these item breakpoints for the Tristana, for the Zyra, because when the dive does come through for Bliss, if it is not on point, the damage will stick and it will mean lights out for them.
That's true. I mean, it does feel as if Antic are being drawn into the game plan that Team Bliss are curating here, right? Where they want to invite Chaos into the mix. They want to just constantly have a stab in the dark, see what lands, and see what they can find. And say, all right, well, we'll take that gamble with you, but ultimately, you would like to see the likes of a Kaiser, a Tristana come into their own, become strong. The same could be said for a Zyra, right? Hit that first item, bit of point of power where you can realistically look to start up a Baron on cue at 20 minutes. And not to say they're out of this game by any stretch of the imagination, but at this level, when these teams have had so many battles against one another, to already be down 2,000 gold is not the best start.
Yeah, absolutely not the best start at all. We're seeing pretty much 3 winning lanes for Bliss just due to the skirmishing that has been happening, minus top lane. Fire's just doing really well in his individual 1v1, even though this was him getting counterpicked. So, yeah, it's a different look for the top lane. We're used to seeing Zornus on the carry and Biopanther playing that tank to navigate the lane, but Bio being the one who wants to play the carry and is doing so well in recent weeks on this Jax in particular, and I think this champ is really underrated, especially into this double AD carry meta.
For sure, yeah, if it's going to be the Rumble getting denied, it almost feels like Jax is the next best answer because, the counter-strike, the ability to dive and just basically laugh at any kind of damage that they do towards you. It's a bit of a burden to say the least, but it's free time then for Kevy to go over what he really likes. Yes, he's hunting for kills and needs to be incredibly active on the map to match that of the clear speed of the Zyra, but 3 grubs into the first dragon. Not a bad campaign for him in this playoff.
Yeah, absolutely not. And this is the power of the Sejuani. I was mentioning this is probably one of the best, tank junglers or tank champions into these majors because you do not have to commit when you dive, right? You throw out the ult, it connects, someone dies. It doesn't, you don't have to go in anyway. But we're seeing pressure onto Biopanther from Foreigner, and this is really nice to see. The damage does miss.
Diver's on though, and Harry's frantically boosting up the mid lane. He goes in with the ultimate to try and catch the distance. Foreigner's got the aggro on the tower, but he sees him knock him out one more time, and there it is! The dive doesn't work for Antic. They're still searching Telly for their very first kill of the game, and they're not going to find it just yet.
Yeah, the body slam does not connect, which means that CC chain doesn't land onto Bio, so he's able to flash and avoid a lot of that damage that comes out there. Harry with the priority on the mid lane, thanks to the item that he has right now, the fact that Ray's base when Bliss went for that dragon, able to walk up topside and find himself another kill, and this is just going to get scarier and scarier for Antic because there's no answer for this Yone on the side lane, especially when he's not this fed.
Yeah, 2k very quickly is working its way towards 3k, and Alador already unleashed on the map to make sure that the tracking is there for where is this Zyra. I don't believe it's called him on this occasion. May have just slipped in behind enemy lines undetected. But the Sheen is already there for Violet, so his trading potential is phenomenal. You've already got the Zeeks completed by Kevy, and you've already mentioned this in the past, right? Champions like Sejuani absolutely love this as a very cheap item spike.
Yeah, this is a really nice thing about these tank junglers is they get this power spike on such a cheap item, and the fact is just, you get armor and MR, you get this AoE slow. It enables their skirmishing power, which is already so good, to be even better. So it's just pretty much playing into their comp strength, really narrowing down on what they want to do, and that's going to be a flash blown by Alador already.
Yeah, really nicely done though to try and get out of that fight there by Destiny. Ignite's getting not traded, but just burnt on this occasion by Aladoric, and just making sure that the fight goes in their favor. Instant claims by Violet, and a flash for good measure because that Zenith Blade was on point. So really, whilst we are yet to find a kill, these health bars in the bot lane continue to fluctuate.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter because they did find a kill in the mid lane.
But it does matter now because back to bot lane is where we go. Alador, unfortunately, is getting caught in the grasp of that Zyra. And finally, Destiny's rewarded with a kill of his own.
Yeah, I was going to say it didn't matter about that gank pressure going onto the Bliss side because the health advantage was so heavily in their favor. So the moment the Foreigner had to leave, you know, Violet could walk up and you know, continue that 2v2 and be so strong, but you know, they do find the kill onto Alador, but at the same time, Raze falls down the mid lane, and 6 grubs go over to Sejuani, which is just what you do not consider in this matchup. Usually, you just think, oh, the Zarya is going to get, you know, all the camps, going to be able to get the early objectives as well, because she's just so much stronger. But, you know, Sejuani with these lanes in tandem is just so strong.
Yeah, look at this for a really nice gank. It's just a case of walking when hitting the passive, hitting the stun with the ult, and saying, Harry, pick up the kill. Kevy takes it in the end, and then, yeah, we pan our way back to bot lane and see what we saw before, which is allowed actually Destiny to go back to base and pick himself up a Shiv, which is prime time to try and match some of the tempo and control that Bliss has been able to already acquire.
Yeah, so Destiny able to find his first item, and this is going to be the point where he can get priority into the Ezreal. He still has components for that Triforce. Doesn't have the Q evolve yet, still needs that pickaxe to be able to get that one. Plus, I think a dagger to get to the E evolve as well. So really nice thing about the Shiv over the Kraken is the fact that this item gives you just more attack speed and AD, so you get to your evolve breakpoints much earlier than you would with the Kraken. And aggression onto Harry into mid lane.
This could be dicey though, because he knows he's in trouble. Oh, goes for the Fate Seal, beautifully blocked there by Raze, flashing into his path and saying, Dragku, you hit that Solar Flare.
Someone kill him.
We will win. You're worried for a second until they have enough, and in the end, Raze, rest assured, says, I've got the shutdown.
Yeah, we saw that he was trying really hard to last hit that one, but he almost let the kill get away from himself. So really nice that he does get the shutdown there. Harry does have the TP though, as he does come off cooldown, but Kevy's walking forward with the, you know, by walking down from top lane and Foreigner no flash.
He really wants to make sure that this is a kill. It is going their way, flashing on top of his head, locking him down with the assistance of the passive. And there you go, yet another kill. And it always seems to be revolving around this mid lane.
Yeah, and Kevy is this, you know, attack point for Bliss. Everywhere he goes, an objective is taken, a kill is garnered for his team, and it's just really nice play by him. And this is why Sejuani is such a scary champion, and why the best teams in the world are first picking it.
Yeah, you can go for the Zarya, you can go for the Brand, but why not just be a tank and just charge at them and see what they do? And that's certainly what Team Bliss have put together on this occasion. The Jax, Sedge, the Alistair, as well as the Yone, they're all just a hive mind of see a target, go and kill that target. And then Violet gets the chill in the back and free farm as an Ezreal. It's not a bad way for them to kickstart this one. There's a rare moment, though, in which Raze can now finally match that Yone, with them both sitting on that Blade of the Rune King, and with the second dragon spawning and a Herald to boot in just under 30 seconds. I'm curious about the lane deployments now.
Yeah, it's going to be Bliss playing really hard for these objectives. That is their main goal in this game, is to stack these dragons as fast as possible and force the enemy to come and fight them wherever they are on the map. So it's either going to be the Heralds, the Dragons, or the Barons. You know, maybe we even get to Elders this game. It's been a minute since we've seen an Elder fight, so I'd really hope we get to that point. But it's all about these objectives this game for Bliss, whereas Antic, they want to buy time to be able to get to, you know, the likes of the Zhonya's on the Gragas and the Zyra. Being able to disengage the dive coming out of the enemy team is where they're going to find a lot of strength. But this is the power of the Yoneskivy. So strong with one item.
Yeah, and how many times have we seen this evidenced by Harry? If you give him any kind of opportunity, he's going to poke you down. Even if it is that melee range mismatch, he just gets that item breakpoint and thinks, you know what, I'm strong enough now. I've got the levels behind me. I've got the cooldown reduction. And I can continue to flirt with danger, utilize that soul unbound. And Destiny says, well, if I just charge right into your face with an ultimate, what are you going to do about it? And that initially gives them this mid lane control, sends Harry back, and shows that Antic have no signs whatsoever about going for any of these objectives.
Commits the killer instinct to chunk him out a little bit, but Harry does have access to the TP. He's going to walk up to the top side, and if there's any aggression happening onto Bai on the spot side, already a hard champ to dive, with the TP coming out of Harry might mean this is not a play that Antic can really go for. But I want to see what this mid game looks like, Skinny, because in the past we haven't really seen Antic be, you know, too aggressive as a team when it comes to the mid game. They weren't really able to access any priority, and they weren't really attacking side lanes. But I think with the class of Leona on the mid wave, they're gonna have priority over this Ezreal, and it's gonna be more response gameplay coming out of the Bliss mid lane or mid 3, and then Antic really need to bridge this, you know, what's happening in the side lane right now to Raze especially.
Well, that's true, because not only is it a potential solo kill that can be found, but then he only left to his own devices with those 6 scrubs. The tower's gone. The map becomes even easier for them to find those flanking angles, in particular for the likes of a Sejuani and a Jax to jump out of the bushes and say, surprise, surprise, I wish you... don't you wish you had a ward there to spot this, you know, gank party threat? But it's sort of been held in suspension with that 3k gold lead that Team Bliss had worked their way to achieve. And you're just wondering, at what point do they feel strong enough? Because in the past, we've had those battles between the Trinity Force and the Cracker Slayer users. Certainly feels like these two AD carries need to hit that 2-3 item point before they say, all right, Baron, it's on the menu.
I think that the Antic members are strong right now. It's just the, the lack of CC that really comes to fruition for them. Whereas Bliss is just like, we want to fight everything we see. Antic really need to find the Leona engage or the, the Stranglethorns onto a disengage coming out of Bliss. They aren't really the team who wants to go forward and, easy pickups when that ult lands, Gibby.
This is pure frustration for Raze here, bullied for the 3rd time this game, and unfortunately it doesn't net them a positive elsewhere on the map because Antic are looking to try and take down Biopanther. He just bought a crucial amount of time. It is the static shift that gets the kill confirmed as that true shot barrage tags up Zoran as Harry TP's in, but just a fraction too late, having been involved in the fight topside. But Team Bliss, I think, are going to say, well, it's still worth for us because we summon the Herald, we get the tower, and we're sieging mid 2.
Yeah, we're going to see aggression onto Harry. Has the flash, but no ult. Can Draku find this with his own flash, which he does not have, so absolutely will not find that one.
No, flashes out the Solar Flare, prevents them finding any kind of retribution, if you will, any kind of answer back, as they're forced to respond to waves both in the top and mid. So, nice little invitation for both to get a bit of aggressive and showcase where they're at, 17 minutes into this game. But Team Bliss still going to be pretty content with where the game state will be.
Cheeky little recall stop, but this is what we're talking about when it comes to this team play. We see Bliss, attacking Raze on the side lane, but no one is there from Antic to help him out. We see no Zyra, no Leona, no one's linking up with him on the side lane. And in that 1v1, he is not going to have a good time. Harry TP's down to the other side of the map to, cover the response play from Antic, so there is no, loss for that team because they are collecting all 3 waves. And at the same time, Violet left to his own devices in the mid lane, finds himself that turret and is working towards those 2 items.
Farming up an absolute storm. I mean, take a quick stock check of both Violet as well as Harry. They are leaps and bounds ahead of their counterparts right now. It just means that they are target number 1. How do we get them taken down? Pretty nice soul unbound there to dodge out in that Zenith Blade and completely fought their gank attempt. But out comes the cask, knocks him back into the waiting arms of Azira that drops the entire combo from the garden and locks him in place. But then we pan to the top side, and this seems to be a common trend, Tally. It's always that trade.
It's just always that trade, and whenever these, these really strong silos are left to their own devices, that's when they can take over the game, and that's another inner tower picked, or the first inner tower picked up for Bliss. Solo gold going onto this Jax, and Bi's going to work his way towards these, items that make him extremely beefy and just able to create so much space for his team. So, look at, the items on the enemy side, there just is no response that is going to be able to be built in these players' inventories yet.
Yeah, certainly not able to find that get out of jail free card that they might be hoping for, because they've tried to take back the control of mid lane. 20 seconds on the 3rd dragon, which would put Bliss on a potential soul point. Nice little item spike then for Harry to return back into the action with a shield blow now done. And with the Warmogs also for Kevy, going to be that much more of a damage threat. So a 2nd item spike for some crucial members here. What will Antic decide to do? Down very close to 4, maybe 5k gold. As they actually will just pounce upon Violet. 5 will stand up strong, get a 3-man counter strike and say, why is my AD carry there?
Huh? What's Gibby? Well, I'm not sure what Violet was really doing there. They had the priority on the mid wave already. He decides to walk into the enemy team rather than committing to the river and regaining control of that objective. But Kevy does have flash. If this is an objective, he can, go over the wall, flash out if he wants to steal that one. But it looks like this team still wants to contest because there is no cast, but there is the Stranglethorns coming there with an Aladoric flank.
Look at this Aladoric flank. Oh my god, not the blast code into the 3-man pole! And then the fate sealed there afterwards. That Aladoric is simply disgusting. Stop it. Absolutely stop it right now. And if you think you're going to get away from this team, you are sorely mistaken. Bliss run you down all day, every day. But if Antic give you a chance to just keep hitting what is ever in front of their face, they will take it over. And Raze now is trying to showcase why he is the Tristana player of Oceania. He gets himself the Quadra and then gets denied of that all-impactful Penta.
The balls on both of these teams, Skivvy, are massive. I will say that. What an engage coming out of Aladoric and Harry. Going into the replay, this is that blast cone flank. 3-man pulverized into that fate seal on so many members, but they're missing their Violet right now. They do not have the damage to find these members, and this is the power of the Zyra and the Gragas. The Stranglethorns disengage. Zoran is doing, I think this champion by itself carried this fight. His body slam to disengage all these melee champions and be able to create space for Raze, who just jumps into the team, recognizing there is no counter-strike, there is no headbutt pole, there is no one ready to lock me down, and I'd have the damage to win this fight.
Huge, huge moment to try and swing the balance of this game. We talk about the scaling discussion of a Tristana as well as a Kaiser, and to get a triple kill that early on to effectively stabilize your KDA, because you've been getting pretty much bullied in the 1v1 into the Yone, in the side lanes as well, against literally anybody. That would feel like a bit of vengeance, and that would say, all right, boys, we're back in the driving seat. Now, we also matched them with the 2-item spike.
And this is the power of the anti-comp scheme. I kept talking about how good the Bliss comp was in that skirmishing and is at engaging, but Gragas and Zyra are really good at disengaging, and you know, Tristana and Kai'Sa have a lot of self-heal, right? So if that initial CC doesn't land and take out these members before they're able to get these rocket jumps or if the killer instincts to reposition, there is no follow-up, right? And a lot of this damage will stick from the Antic side when, you know, you have the Stranglethorn being thrown out with the AoE slow from the Rylai's and all these Thorn Spitters slowing you down, and constantly Gragas creating so much space and already doing so much damage because this is a very fed fat man in the top lane.
Yeah, this Gragas is a bit of an issue. Certainly is getting to a point of no return and becoming that 1v9 Gragas Bomber style AP threat. And I mean, yeah, back to the previous fight. I mean, given how AoE centric it was with the perfect pulverize into combo, you were really just missing that bow, be it the True Shot Barrage, to then just instantly get a triple kill and to say that, you know, I guess Violet is just the best AD carry player ever. In goes Dominus then, hits a Bomber to give a very much helping hand to Violet and saying, well, thank you, we'll make a trade, we'll take you, you can take our tower. That sounds fair to us. Rage jumps away to safety. Foreigner, unfortunately, doesn't have the same luxury, and with a jungler down for 40, that's a Baron right at their feet.
Two mistakes, Gimme. Okay, number one, this is classic Antic, right? They get the lead and then they just crazy play. I think that Antic's comp does not function in the flank sense. You know, I don't think the Gragas should ever be in a position besides in front of his carries to peel. If he does go for that, you know, cask into his team as he is on the flank here, it's never going to work on Ezreal. It's never going to work on Yone. These champs are mobile, and no one to peel for his carries just means that this Yone just has so much free time, and he's going to get locked up if he is by himself tanking a tower with no one to follow up.
Yeah, it felt pretty awkward, very disjointed, and very confusing, I suppose, for Antic as well. Like, okay, well, I guess we're all in on taking this tower, and then somehow running away from this situation. But yeah, Team Bliss said, well, you've gifted us an opportunity to reclaim what was ours, and all that great work around the Dragon Pit has come unstuck now, as Bliss will pick up the Baron. And we'll get to see where they put their attention towards. Is it a case of simply going towards top lane again and opening up a potential inhibitor? Or claiming these other outers? Because bot lane in particular is hanging on, and that's exactly where Jax is going now.
More than likely, we'll see Bliss play that 2-lane style. They have a very heavy engaged comp, so they want to be able to attack the members whenever they can. I do not think this is an aggression that Antic can go from the side lane, but he's a very tanky member, and he does have his teammates in his pocket.
Sidesteps the initial engage coming out of Dracu on that Leona. Ward hops away to safety in the end as the Bomber comes out and once again works against him, pushes Harry to safety as Raze is forced to jump away. Violet is lagging behind, but even without his impact, even without his presence, Team Bliss are winning the straight 4v5. There's 2 kills with the jungle support removed and a fate sealed to be flashed away from by Raze to ensure he's next, or rather not next, on the chopping block.
You know, Skimmy, I love watching Antic. It's frustrating, but I love watching them. They are aggressive. They will attack everywhere they go, and Alador does want to flank onto this turret. If they do see these members still left on the turret, he has that flash.
Ray spots it out now, but he knows, uh-oh, I've lost vision for just a second. Fog of War really is my worst enemy. And Dominus is going to jump in and say, let's get a little bit of CC, slow them down, give you the uptime to work with that Navori as well as that Blade of the Rune King. But the casualty is going to be pretty high. They lose some teammates. They're going to lose a few more towers.
Destiny?
And Destiny, well, that's a Yone, and that's why we love the champion.
That's really fair. You know, does go invisible, so dodges out on Alador, able to find him with that combo. That's why he cut the grass there. But really nice flash from Harry, finds that kill onto Destiny. Even though he did have double summons, he was caught out of the, you know, position. It's very hard to react to sometimes. And it's just the aggression coming out of Bliss. They're always together as a team, whereas Antic split up like right now.
Yeah, they're finding it a little bit difficult to try and come together. Oh, what a denial on that blast cone. Zoranus, where are you going? Straight into my waiting arms to get the kill. There's an airball. Well, you know what? Sometimes you do get those on the big jobs. But either way, 6 turrets to 2. They've still got a Baron for another 30 seconds. And they're going to make one last attempt towards the top side.
Yeah, they have committed out their engaged ultis right now, so this might be a mistake overstaying. This could be a window for Antic to get back into the game if they do continue to siege. So, gonna see them back off. Dracu going for another engage here. Kevy isn't by himself though.
Yeah, it's a case of why have we engaged on this one? Do we have the damage to try and answer back? And the Zenith Blade's not going to connect, but Raze is going to jump right into Kevy's head. He's just going to sidestep away to safety, and then Harry keeps them interested for just a second by attacking from the top half of the map. And I mean, I hate to call it the draft, but does this almost feel like, Tally, Antic have gone all in on the laning phase. They lost it, and now it's a case of, well, how do we make our comp work?
I think that Antic are playing like they have Bliss's comp right now. If they did have this Sejuani and these melee champs, this is the kind of playstyle you want to go for. But when you have so many range champs, so many volatile champs in these team fights, you need to play together as a team, and Zoranus needs to be marking these flanks right now.
Let's see then if they can deny away yet another dragon. There it is, back-to-back Earth Drakes in their way. Mountain stats certainly going to look to add up as the damage continues to go against them. Bliss, they lock you down, they stun you in place, and they surround you as a team. There's a second. The bot lane, unfortunately for Antic, removed from the equation for another 30 seconds. And even if there is no Baron, they've done such great work of opening up the base that that's what they're going to target next.
And this is going to be a very easy inhibitor for Bliss. I do not think this will be game over just quite yet. There is still the wave clear from the Zarya and the Gragas, but this is a very hard game to come back from. You look at the inventory of Fire Panther right now, and if they do want to go for this, this is going to be a very close time because the respawn times are coming out, Skimmy.
Let's see then, would it take the Gambit with the 6 stacks of his Void Grubs? We've seen it done before, right in their face, right by the fountain. They'll take down 2 Nexus turrets, they'll expose the Nexus itself, and Harry will jump in as a 1v5 machine. Shield Bow, Wits End, Blade of the Rune King, it's just not enough mitigation and self-sustain in the end that they'll drop their Nexus to about 25%. But a bit of indecision. Are we going? Are we disengaging? Are we running back home? And now Bliss say, well, we've got all these deep wards. You're not escaping our grasp.
Looks like Razor's sitting in the bush. They're going to find the kill onto Violet, and Kevy without flash is also going to get run down as well by the members. This is a walk though, no red buff, not a lot of damage coming out of Raze, and not going to be able to find this one. He's going to walk this one off Skimmy, and that's 4 kills going towards Antic, but is it enough? This is an exposed Nexus, and you know, a lot of players would say this is a checkmate position. Coming back from an exposed Nexus is extremely hard and one of the most rare occasions in League of Legends.
Well, you have to take a quick stock of what's up and available. No TPs. There is a ward inside their base that you would think they could TP to otherwise, but this is the confusing part for me. It feels like one end is focused on getting the kills, the other, let's take these objectives, beat the turrets, and then as they get the Nexus exposed, it's like, do we need to run? Our HP's getting quite low.
Let's call him out, Skimmy. So we see Bio, full hitting Nexus here. Where's the rest of his team? No one is helping him hit the Nexus here. Everyone else zoned off pretty much. You know, I think this was a bit too aggressive. Usually you would say, in this position, you take the path of least resistance, right? You do not need to flip this game on that end because you will win the game after your next reset. But this is what Bliss like to do with this team comp. Foot on the pedal, never let up, full aggression. Either
way, it's entertaining, right? I mean, this is what you love.
Yeah.
It's the comedy of some of the missteps, but then the you know, engaging element of like, well, that was quite satisfying. Look at the mechanics. This is why they are some of the best in our region. It is still going to be a 6,000 gold lead in favor of Bliss, and whilst we're unfortunately not going to get an Elder Drake anytime soon, it is going to be a case of us grouping up again, seeing what we can find, and cleansing out of adversity. That was a little bit dicey there for Violet. Held it for just a second, but does manage to get to safety.
I love the aggression out of a team that, you know, it's pretty much a full pill team comp, right? Just Leona by itself is the only champ who really wants to dive in, but you look at the rest of the team comp, it's a full pill team, but they are the ones always aggressing. They always want to find the pick, and I think probably the mistake, Skimmy, they really need to deal with this, you know, Sejuani, Yone, and Jax who are diving onto them, especially in the side lane when Bio can have free time against Zoranus in the 1v1.
Well, this is it. He's just trying to be a bit of a menace, a bit of a distraction tactic in the bot lane to draw them down to that half of the map. Or say, very sneakily, just look at the Baron and say, you'll never guess what we're doing over here. I don't think Antic have, you know, the front line, the tankiness, the bodies to get here to say, oh, okay, they are doing the Baron, but can we even contest? Because it's just not possible.
It's a really hard one to contest. Like, when they lose control of their top jungle, it's very hard to walk back in and face check when there's so many engaged tools, when Alador is not marked, because all he has to do is find a flank, hit that, you know, that combo onto any of these members, and there's going to be TPs coming out, multiple engage angles from, you know, the Sejuani and the Yone. It's such a hard thing to deal with. I think they're much more comfortable just, you know, pushing out a side lane of priority and sitting in their base and dealing with the siege.
Well then, it's Baron number 2 in the hands of Bliss. It's an 8k gold lead now, and this is them looking to try and end the game right here and now, unless Antic have something left up their sleeve, some other trick that they can utilize to try and outplay the shenanigans of an Alador flashing into your face and just forcing you to go golden. Yes, Draku's dead. Foreign is the next one, as he's completely isolated from everybody else. And Bliss, in very solitary fashion, can just run you down piece after piece. You can buffer as the rocket jumping Tristana, but the counter-strike reigns supreme. It's going to be an ace of all aces. and a fantastic way to close out Game 1. Bliss, the favourites coming into this one and showcasing why.
Very shaky game from both sides, I will say, Skimmy. I think that Bliss had a game plan though, whereas, we look at Antic's side, they had counter picks. They didn't really have a team comp. They didn't really play to their team comp, and that was the main difference in this game. Bliss constantly playing to their team strengths. Skirmish, skirmish, skirmish. Find those picks, wait for engage timers, and it just really came down to finding these really nice engages, especially from Alador.
That's exactly true. And if we talk about, Game 1 being a chance for both teams to feel one another out, get a bit of an understanding as to what the series is all going to be about, then maybe Game 2 has even more surprises awaiting around the corner. We're going to jump to a quick break, and when we return, all the action broken right down.